The Golden State Warriors enter this season with momentum. A 4-1 start has reaffirmed expectations, and the synergy between Steph Curry and newly integrated Jimmy Butler is beginning to show. Jonathan Kuminga has rediscovered his confidence, moving more aggressively on both ends of the floor, and veterans like Al Horford are settling into Steve Kerr's system. Chemistry isn't perfect, but for a team with championship aspirations, early success is critical, and the Warriors have delivered. Milwaukee presents the first true test of the season. The Bucks, like the Warriors, have suffered only a single loss, largely because of Giannis Antetokounmpo. The two-time MVP is dominating, 36.3 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, and 1.3 blocks per game. Limiting Giannis will require the Warriors to deploy every defensive scheme in the book, from drop coverage and pick and rolls to doubling in transition. This matchup doesn't just test the team's skill, it reinvigorates a trade narrative that has existed for years: Giannis in Golden State. Reports before the season indicated preliminary trade talks between Milwaukee and the Knicks surrounding Giannis, and though he remains committed to Milwaukee, his focus on winning is well documented. If the Bucks' championship trajectory falters, a trade could become realistic. From Golden State's perspective, pairing Curry with Giannis is nearly ideal. Curry's unparalleled shooting opens space for Giannis to attack the rim, defend multiple positions, and push pace. The Warriors could form a nearly unstoppable 1-2 combination. Salary considerations complicate any trade scenario. Golden State's payroll of $205 million puts them hard-capped under the second apron, leaving only $2 million below the limit. They cannot acquire a contract larger than what they send out. Milwaukee, with $178.8 million in payroll, has flexibility, $17 million below the first apron and $29 million below the second, capable of taking back more salary than they send. Butler's $54 million salary alone matches Giannis' contract, but additional assets such as Kuminga and 4 first-round picks would likely be required. Even then, Giannis' value may exceed any offer short of Curry, who is untouchable. A hypothetical trade could send Butler, Kuminga, and draft assets to Milwaukee in exchange for Giannis, Cole Anthony, Quinton Post, and additional first-round selections. While this is speculative, it reflects the type of blockbuster trade analysts like Colin Cowherd suggest could be feasible if circumstances align. Derek White offers an alternative. Acquiring White would not demand a blockbuster swap, but his intelligence, defensive versatility, and ball handling would integrate seamlessly into Kerr's system. White provides depth and efficiency, giving Golden State a more balanced backcourt without mortgaging multiple high-value players. This move could be particularly appealing if the Warriors prefer a lower-risk strategy while still maintaining C. Welcome back to Warrior Insider Daily, the channel where every rumor, every trade, and every power move around the NBA gets broken down, analyzed, and brought straight to you. Tonight's episode takes us deep into the heart of trade season, where one story has started to shake up the league, reports suggesting that the Golden State Warriors could target Boston Celtics guard Derek White in a potential blockbuster deal. It's a rumor that, at first glance, might seem minor, another whisper in the never-ending NBA trade machine. But when you look closer, this one could be seismic. Because it's not just about Boston's finances, or Golden State's aging roster. It's about the final chapters of one of the greatest dynasties in basketball history, and whether Steph Curry has one last run left in him. The Warriors are no longer the unstoppable force they once were. They're older, they're slower, and for the first time in nearly a decade, they look human. But even in their decline, they still hold that glimmer, that small, dangerous spark, of championship DNA. And if there's one move that could reignite it, some insiders believe it's Derek White. Let's break down why this rumor is gaining traction, how it could realistically happen, and why it's sending shockwaves from Boston to the Bay. The Celtics, after an impressive but emotionally draining playoff run, are sitting in a complicated position financially. They offloaded Kristaps Porzingis. They let Jrue Holiday go. They've trimmed down salaries, but they're still dancing just above the league's first tax apron. White, with 4 years and $118 million left on his deal, could be the key to unlocking more flexibility. That's not to say Boston wants him gone, far from it. Derek White has been a defensive anchor, an unselfish teammate, and one of the best two-way guards in the entire NBA. But the business side of basketball can be brutal, and sometimes even great players get moved in the name of balance sheets and future flexibility. Now, Golden State sees opportunity in that tension. Their front office, led by Mike Dunleavy Jr., has quietly been exploring options to retool around Curry. They know this version of the team has a shelf life. Draymond Green is 35. Klay Thompson is 36. Andrew Wiggins hasn't been the same since the 2022 title run. And while young talents like Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Podziemski have shown flashes, none of them look ready to carry the torch quite yet. Enter Derek White. At 31 years old, he's right in that sweet spot, old enough to understand playoff basketball, young enough to still have his legs. He's not a superstar, but he's a winning player, the kind every championship team needs. And most importantly, he brings something the Warriors desperately need: defense. Steph Curry is still one of the best defensive players on the planet. But at 38, expecting him to guard quick, explosive backcourt players night after night is unrealistic. White, meanwhile, has built his reputation on doing exactly that. He takes on the toughest assignments, from Damian Lillard to Luka Doncic, and rarely flinches. He's made the all-defensive second team twice, and he's finished top 10 in Defensive Player of the Year voting 2 seasons in a row. He's the kind of player who doesn't just defend, he changes the rhythm of the game. Now imagine that kind of defender next to Steph Curry. Imagine a Warriors lineup where Curry can conserve his energy for offense, knowing that White has his back on the perimeter. It's not just a smart move, it's a move that could extend Curry's career. Sources close to both organizations suggest that conversations haven't turned serious yet, but the interest is very real. Golden State would likely have to move one of their larger contracts, possibly Andrew Wiggins or Kevin Looney, along with draft compensation, to make the salaries match. It's tricky, but not impossible. And the Celtics? They might be tempted. A deal involving Wiggins, a future first-round pick, and a young player like Moses Moody could give them more flexibility while keeping them competitive. It's the kind of trade that both sides could justify: Boston for the books, Golden State for one more shot at glory. So let's play this out. What does a Warriors team with Derek White actually look like? Offensively, it's almost seamless. White isn't ball-dominant. He moves well without the ball, makes the right reads, and can hit threes at a reliable clip. Defensively, he becomes their point-of-attack specialist, the role they haven't consistently filled since Andre Iguodala left. That balance could unlock a version of the Warriors we haven't seen in years, a team that's disciplined, versatile, and dangerous again. But this story isn't just about X's and O's. It's about legacy. For Steph Curry, this might be his final ride, his last realistic chance to add another championship to his name. Every move Golden State makes now isn't just about next season, it's about history. And maybe that's why this rumor feels so important. Because if the Warriors do land Derek White, it sends a message: they're not done yet. But of course, that's only one chapter in the current wave of trade rumors sweeping across the league. Because while